But a lot of people are, or they're saying, well, this is what I've decided to stand for. This is what I've decided to stand for. And that means that I don't have to do that. And I don't have to go there. And you don't have to be around me. And you can't come around me. Okay, take your ball and go home. Because you don't want to share with everybody on the playground.
Coming to you from 125 Carver in Waco, Texas, it's the Riverside Weekly. We hope your time with us today is thought-provoking, spiritually challenging, and a life-changing experience. Our discussions are fun, real, and at times very uncomfortable. We highly encourage all of our guests and listeners to like and subscribe, and please ring the bell. Now, here are your hosts, Pastor Cello and Pastor Mia.
Welcome, everybody. It's Wednesday.
Wednesday podcast day.
Sorry, I had to wait for him to finish drinking. He says that every time. Let's go, and then he takes a drink.
Let's rock and roll.
I can't start while you're drinking.
So anyway, we're here. What's up?
We're here, everybody. Welcome back.
Man. Thank you guys for subscribing, liking, man. We are pressing towards our 1,000 subscribers mark, man. Appreciate you guys that are tuning in, people that are just now joining us. Big shout out to Brooke and Nate and Maddie and Jesse for subscribing and tuning in and watching this, man. We love you guys. Thanks for all our subscribers on Apple.
I don't know.
Podcast, iTunes, what was it? I can't remember what it's called. Apple Podcast. SoundCloud, Google Play, iHeartRadio, all you guys listening.
I was like, you have us on too many platforms, so I can't.
I know it's so many, but it just, we kind of grew. So thank you guys for listening. How about that?
Yes, that's good.
Thanks for subscribing.
Thanks you.
Thanks for hitting the bell. Ding.
Good. I'm sorry.
So what are we talking about?
Our sleep patterns are way messed up after this COVID bout, you know, and so 5 a.m. feels like I just went to bed. Even though I didn't, but my body thinks that. Oh,
I agree.
You know, we were in the COVID thing, so it takes your body some time to adjust to day and night.
Still having that fatigue.
Yeah, it feels like that we're adjusting to living in Alaska.
Oh, where it's daylight most of the time.
Yeah, or night.
Nighttime.
Yeah, and you don't get any daylight, so it's kind of weird, and I'm just like, what? I don't know. Anyway, welcome.
So what are we talking about?
I was just going to say welcome back to everybody. I'm so glad they came back. Yes. And I was going to talk about this, and I don't remember when, so I'm going to talk about it today. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about was if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
That's so cliche.
It really is cliche, but I can't come at this topic without saying that, because there's a lot of people right now, masks, no mask, vaccine, no vaccine. What's another one?
Quarantine, no quarantine.
Quarantine, no quarantine. You know, schools, no schools, going back to school, no, you know, whatever it is, they're standing for. And there are people that are like,
that's me.
Yeah, but I'm saying, if you don't have something to stand on, you'll fall for anything. And those who are really falling for anything, or those that are standing for something, I don't feel like they're really standing for something. I feel like people have taken up their picket sign and said,
you mean their cross?
No, their picket sign, and they said, this is what I want to stand for, because I don't want to commit to nothing. I'm sorry. We went there real quick, and I feel like what people are standing for is them using that as an excuse to do what they want to do. Listen, you say it all the time. People are going to do what they're going to do, and I'm tired of them hiding behind these excuses. If you're going to stand for something, go out there and do it. But don't say, well, I just didn't want to go to church anymore. Or I just didn't want to go to work anymore. Or I just didn't want to be with the in crowd. I want to go against the crowd. Or I want to do it this way. Or I want to. throw my fit and do it my way. That's an excuse. Stop trying to stand for something that you made up. And let me just stop there.
Why don't you tell us how you really feel?
It is in there and it is coming out. Listen, I was in quarantine for 3 weeks. I had time to think about this. And I saw your little stupid tweets and your little Facebook posts. That's why I call it face vent. Because people were like, bleh, bleh. You know, whatever. I'm not even on Facebook. I'm sorry. This is me before coffee. I'm just kidding. No. Actually,
and that's how the cookie crumbles.
Yes. My name is Ido, and that's the way I see it. Just kidding. I think that I felt like I was just going on a rant there because it sounded kind of cool, you know, type thing. It kind of goes with my shirt.
I ain't judging you, man.
I know, but I think it goes with my shirt, you know, and you may be able to see it, you may not, but we'll just let them decide. Anyway, it's rock, paper, scissors, COVID-19 style. And that's, you know, this is rock. So it's fist bump or paper. Paper covers everything, so I can give you a full-on frontal hug or full-on hug.
Okay.
And then scissors is social distance or I'm going to cut you. Okay? That's my code.
These shirts are $39.99. We can get them to you right now. As soon as you want them, you let us know. Place your order immediately so that we can get those to you.
Anyway, so just saying that to say it just kind of went all together, so I went there. But really, I have been thinking about what people are standing for, and some people aren't standing for things.
I'm just...
Tell me how you really feel.
No, I'm just laughing because, you know,
I went on this rant.
Yeah, you went on this rant. Completely took me off guard.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for.
No, you did. I get it. I think a lot of times people, individuals, myself, I mean, like, I think what you're saying, I mean, it is cliche.
It is cliche.
Stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
Yeah.
But I think it's not so much the standing in as much as it is the falling.
Yeah.
For instance, I was talking with a guy, you know, man, probably a year ago or so, having this conversation, and the guy's a believer, you know, he goes to church, you know, serves in the church, and he made a statement to me which I immediately got offended by.
Wow.
And the statement that
you
he
don't
made,
get offended by much.
I know. Well, the statement that he made was that he had a relative that had left some property to his family.
Okay.
And it was some obscene number of acres.
Okay.
You know, and he's a believer, tither, giver, and he's like, you know, the Word of God says that that our forefathers or our people, ancestors will leave us an inheritance.
Okay.
And that we have an inheritance.
Okay.
And I immediately got offended because I'm going,
well, because you're Native American. Let's just start off with that.
Well, I got offended because I'm a Native American. I'm like, yeah, but your inheritance was stolen, was taken from the Native Americans that were here.
Yeah.
So is it really an inheritance, or like, is that stolen property? Like, you know, and so I'm going through this whole thought process, and I'm trying to rejoice with this guy, and I'm like,
your family has my property?
Yeah. So like, I'm literally struggling with this clash of being rejoice because what he shared is scripture, but the reality and fact of is that land was stolen, that was taken from Native Americans, and now you're rejoicing over something that was taken.
Yeah.
That would be like me. Like this video I watched, this guy's like, hey, this guy stole my car. He goes, I didn't steal the car. I discovered it. It was sitting there with I discovered the car because it was in the parking lot where the key's running.
Sorry,
and
that's not funny.
I walked upon it and I discovered it. It's like, well, sir, you can't have it. Belongs to him. It's like, no, I discovered the car. And
Christopher Columbus discovered America,
right, so,
even though the Indians were already here having dinner and joining in with each other.
Yeah, so my point being in the falling, it's more in the falling that is the standing, is that I literally was at a place where I'm like, man, I'm struggling on what do I really want to believe? Do I want to believe that this individual who is a tither, is a giver, serves God, loves God, is walking in his inheritance? Or the fact that his forefathers literally took the land, you know? And so Am I falling for something? Am I standing for something? Like, what am I going to stand for, right? And I hear all the believers, well, you're supposed to believe right with God. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, when you look at some of the things that took place within Christianity, it reminds me a lot of things that we're dealing with today. Like, we literally preach the gospel that we want to be preached, and it's not always truth.
Yeah.
Right? So
the tickling of the
like,
ears.
you know, and so we begin to stand for things that are not necessarily worthy of standing
That's
for.
right. That's
and
right.
we end up falling for those
That's
things.
right. That's right.
And so that's what I was struggling with, is I'm like, man,
I want to rejoice with you.
But I'm like, bro,
but it's stolen.
Technically, you should be giving that to me because my forefathers were like, you know, like, where's my inheritance? You know, and so that whole thought process, going back to what you're saying, you know, your frustration of people just saying this and picking up their and all these different things,
picking up a picket sign,
which I think is hilarious to me.
Yeah.
If you haven't read the news or you haven't heard anything, I'm sure you have if you've been on social media at all. But like the irony and the comical sense of what's taking place with our governor in Texas, Governor Abbott.
Okay.
So last week we talked about how he opened everything up in June, no mask mandates, all this.
Yeah.
And he was pushing to get vaccines, don't wear a mask, get a vaccine. He himself got a vaccine, got all his vaccines, whatever that he had. And then we find out the last day or two that he actually tested positive for COVID. He's in quarantine, like he's staying at the Capitol.
Well, that would be true.
So I'm going, that's hilarious to me, because the same people that are going, you need to get vaccinated
so you don't
get COVID. And at the same time, he's like, don't worry about wearing a mask. You know, and so the irony of the whole thing. So like, to me, I'm laughing. It's humorous to me, because at the one hand, I'm laughing at all those folks, get vaccinated so that you can get COVID anyway.
Which is what we said last week.
And the other one is like, don't wear your mask so that you can get COVID anyway. and so we're literally going back to what you said. Like, you're holding these signs back and forth.
Yeah.
And you're like, you really have to ask yourself now this is going to upset somebody. You thought your rant was going to upset somebody. This is really going to upset somebody.
Okay.
You really have to ask yourself, what is it that you're standing for?
Yeah.
Are you really upset because they're trying to make you wear a mask, or they're trying to get you take a vaccine? Are you really upset because nobody's getting a vaccine and nobody's wearing it? Like, what are your core values in what you believe? And so for me, when I think about it, right, when I think about everything that's going on in our society, of course, this is like our 4th or 5th podcast
I know.
on COVID.
Even though I said we probably wouldn't talk about it, it's just here.
My thing is like, where are your core values? I lean, this is just me, Native American, kind of has problem with government and stuff, just saying, right? But I appreciate freedom of choice.
Okay.
I appreciate freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. I appreciate freedom of opinion.
Okay.
Right? I get all that. I appreciate that. I value that. I hold on to that tighter and stand for that tighter than falling for the okie doke, put your mask on, the okie doke, get vaccinated. Like, your choice is your choice. Well, what about the people that you care about? Well, if you think that they don't care about people, then you don't have to worry about them. Don't worry about them. Like, don't care about them. Well, they don't care about people. They're not thinking about their family. Maybe they are thinking about their family, but not the way that you're thinking about your family. And that's where I feel like we are just a bunch of kids, entitled Americans, entitled Christians and believers and Democrats and liberals and Republicans. We're so entitled in everything that we have that we're literally fighting against or standing for something that has no bearing on anything except for the fact that mask up, don't mask up, vaccine, don't vaccine, my right, no right. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Someone posted on social media the other day, everything that was going on with Afghanistan. Man, we're talking about a lot of current topics.
Yeah, but I didn't even know about Afghanistan. So I saw some pictures. Guys, don't hate on me. I don't like face vent. I'm very rarely on Instagram now, unless I post a picture about my grandkids. I'm not on Twitter anymore, and I don't watch the news. So,
on Facebook, I think it was Facebook, they were posting, everybody's been talking about how these Afghanistans where Afghanis were trying to be on the outside of this plane, this military plane. Like they're literally on the exterior of this plane, holding on 400 or 500 feet in the air, and they're plummeting to their death because they know what's coming in their country, because the United States military pulled out of Afghanistan. The Afghanistan war is quote unquote over. So when you start thinking about somebody who realizes the freedoms that we have, that they're willing to die or try to get here, riding on the exterior of a plane. Like there's videos of them falling to their death, plummeting to their death. And we're worried about who's wearing a mask.
Wow.
We're worried about who's getting vaccinated. We're worried about what school's doing this and what school's doing that, and who's forcing us to get vaccine and who's forcing or get vaccinated and who's not letting us. Like, so we're wrapped up in all this mess, and we're literally forgetting the fact that, look, we live in America where it's your choice.
Yeah.
You choose how you respond, you choose how your attitude is. You have the freedom to decide what you're going to do for yourself and your family. My choices, my decisions, whether you like them or not, should not dictate how you respond. That just, to me, that's just immaturity. That's literally
that's using your stand as an excuse to throw a fit or to do what you want to do, and that's where I was coming from.
I get it. Like, I mean, exactly, right? And so I think what you're saying is true. Is that like they're throwing a fit? Like we're literally upset. But I think that fit, or that being upset and wanting to tweet, post, snap, Instagram, storyline, everything, is coming from a level of, or I'd say a level of distaste, a level of frustration, because, as one person told me, they're just not getting their way.
That's throwing a fit.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're throwing a fit and they're having this attitude because they're not getting their way. And it's not that it's just this side. It's literally both sides. It's like everybody's all mad about it. You need to wear your mask. You're taking away my rights. Like, I mean, bro, like.
That's why I said, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything.
So I was watching this video, which is crazy, and the guy asked a simple question. He says, what's more important, your right to have freedom of speech, or the right for the government to control what you say? And they literally said it was more important for the government to control what you say so that nobody else gets their feelings hurt or is offended by what other people say. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like we're literally at a place in our society and culture in the United States where if we don't have, I love y'all. If we don't have mom and dad telling you when to sit down, when to wipe your butt, when to blow your nose, when to put your shoes on, when to go outside and play, when to sit down and eat your macaroni, when to eat your fish sticks, that if we don't have Pastor Cello saying, this is when you pray, this is how you pray, this is the scripture you pray, this is when you wear a mask, this is when you don't wear a mask. Like if we don't have somebody telling us that and literally dogging us out and giving us direct directions, then we can't operate. Unless somebody.
That's a toddler. That's a toddler.
Like, if we don't have somebody telling us to put our seatbelt on, we're not mature enough to make a decision whether you're going to put your seatbelt on. You're not mature enough to be able to make a decision. Am I going to wear a mask when I go in here? Or am I not going to wear a mask when I go in here? Well, I think that everybody should wear a mask. Why? Well, because my Uncle Fred said so. My Aunt Tommy said so. Like, whatever that is, and unless the pastor is telling you, unless your mayor is telling you, your governor's telling you, your president's telling you, wherever you're at in this whole thing, unless somebody's telling you what to do, I think that we as a society have got to a place like a toddler. Like we're literally waiting for somebody to tell us what we have to do, and then we'll just do it.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to have any freedom of thought. We don't want to have freedom of objection. We don't want to have freedom of speech. We don't want to have, we literally are, this is what I see. This is just me. We are literally moving into a place where nobody wants to think for themselves.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's not that we don't have the freedom, or we're moving to a place where people don't have their freedom. We're moving to a place where no one wants the responsibility.
Ooh, that's good. Tweet that. Tweet that. That's good.
Well, that's where I'm getting at.
Say that again. Say it again.
We're getting to a place where no one wants the responsibility. That's why they're using that. And this is why I was saying what I said. People are using I stand for this as an excuse to not go back to church, to not go back to work, to not pick a side, they don't want the responsibility. And so they're saying, well, I stand for this. Yeah, well, you know what? You're fixing to fall flat on your face. It doesn't really matter what the choice you make. If you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. And I feel like a lot of people right now have just said, I don't want the responsibility. I don't want it on my hands. So I'm just going to say nothing. Or I'm just not going to choose anything. I'm just saying. But a lot of people are, or they're saying, well, this is what I've decided to stand for. This is what I've decided to stand for. And that means that I don't have to do that. And I don't have to go there. And you don't have to be around me. And you can't come around me. Okay, take your ball and go home. Because you don't want to share with everybody on the playground.
And I think that's
where we're at.
That's literally where we're at. Like we are so, and I'm talking about Republicans. I'm talking about Democrats. I'm talking about liberals.
I'm just talking about people.
I'm trying to clarify. Like we're talking about everybody. It's not like this side. Both sides.
Everybody.
Republicans, Democrats, liberals.
I'm a mask. I'm a masker. You're not.
Perfect example.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
This is it.
So yesterday we go get some lunch. We're in line at our local restaurant, and there's some couples that are in line to get food. All the men are unmasked, and all the spouses or girlfriends or whatever are all masked up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, welcome to America.
Yeah.
Like, that is exactly the way it should be. Like, if you can't have a relationship with somebody and accept the fact that they're going to get vaccinated or not get vaccinated, if they're going to wear a mask or not get a mask, if they're not going to go to their work because they're being forced to get vaccinated, or you're not going to go to work because they're not forcing vaccination, right? Like, make that decision, take the responsibility, but don't try to get everybody else to do what you think or what you feel is the right decision or choice. Now, I mean, because everybody, it's funny. Somebody posted it's like we were taught at such a young age, don't give in to peer pressure, and everybody's trying to peer pressure each other.
Right now.
I think what I share with my congregation, with our congregation, what I've shared with our leaders here at Riverside was like, look, I believe that you have enough common sense. I believe that you have enough maturity and enough responsibility to be able to make a decision for your family. Now, when it comes to faith, I can't judge your faith. I can't. I'm not going to allow my faith to dictate your faith.
Yes.
But I don't know where your relationship with God. I don't know where your faith is. But I believe that you do have enough faith and enough common sense to make a decision that's going to be best for you and your family. And I am not going to lord over you, and I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm the pastor. I'm leading you. It's up to you to be led by the Holy Ghost. It's up to you to be led by God, and do whatever you feel like it's led. I'm not going to judge you if you come. I'm not going to judge you if you don't come, but don't get to a place where we're literally wanting everybody to do what we want or they're wrong.
That's
the danger.
That's
where I feel like we're at.
That's it.
I feel like that's where we're at.
I feel like people are trying to guilt trip people and use that as an excuse to say, I don't have to do that. And that's where I was coming from. If you don't stand for something, you will just fall for anything, and you're going to fall right on your face.
Yeah, and that's
so. And that's everybody. That's not just, you have, and we've talked about this over and over and time again, just exactly what you said. You have enough common sense to make the decisions for yourself.
I believe that.
And I don't think you should be guilt tripping nobody. Do not put your picket sign in their yard. Don't put it in their face. Don't call them. Don't tweet them. Don't send it to them through Facebook. That is so 4-year-old. That is so immature. That is 2-year-olds throwing a fit because they're not getting their way. So saying all that to say, stop using everything else as an excuse and stop blaming everybody else for your decisions that you've made. Listen, you say it all the time. People are gonna do what they're gonna do.
That's it.
Don't worry. I'm gonna tell you what I tell my grandkids all the time. You worry about you. Don't worry about your brother. Don't worry about your sister. You worry about you. I tell them that all the time.
And I think to wrap it up, I think that if you are having a hard time making a decision or taking responsibility for your own actions, your own decisions,
your own thoughts,
I think you probably should reevaluate if you should be living by yourself.
Not even only that, but you should reevaluate what you stand for.
Oh no, yeah,
your faith.
I was being sarcastic.
Oh, okay. I'm like, you should reevaluate what you stand for, and that's what I believe. The podcast, I wanted to get that across.
Yeah, exactly. What is it that you value? What is it? Do you value your ability or your desire to get someone to wear a mask or get vaccinated or not get vaccinated, not wear a mask? Do you value that more than than your ability to have freedom of speech, to have your freedom of choice, to have your freedom of thought? Yeah. Like, that's what I value. So I esteem that higher than wearing a mask or not wearing a mask, vaccinated or not vaccinated. I appreciate people that are like, hey, bro, I don't care. Like, I'm going to do this. And I'm cool with that. Like, I may not agree with it, but I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Because I don't pay their bills.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not raising your kids and not paying your bills, and I don't go to work for you.
There you go. So we're going to end there because I just want to tell y'all that I thought this podcast was going to be me talking most of the time. But this brother right here has been on, and you can rewind the video and watch me because I just sat here and listened to him because clearly this was an issue he was dealing with.
I think we both were.
Yeah, well, I know we were, but
You came out the green.
Well, I was just playing though because I was like, I said, I'm going to throw him for a loop. I'm just going to, I'm going to come out and be like, bam, bam, bam.
And you was bam, 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 bam.
So anyway, I thought it was pretty funny, but I will say, I'm sorry that we talked about it again. We did say it was going to happen, even though I tried to make it not happen.
Well, it's a hot topic right now.
Yes, it is. Anyway, we love you guys. You can always turn us off at any time that you get tired of listening to us rant about those things. And we just try to stay current. And we're just talking about something that is really an issue right now. Do what's
best for you.
He's right. You can order my shirt for $39.95, and it is rock paper scissors COVID style. And I believe social distance, or I will cut you. No.
She wears a mask all the time.
I do.
I don't wear a mask.
I do.
And yet we sleep in the same bed.
There you go. But I don't wear the mask.
And we share tea. Just saying.
That's another podcast.
So that's like, democracy.
Yeah.
That's the love of God.
Yeah. Anyway, we love you guys. Thanks for listening to us rant. Thanks for tuning in. And if you like this, share it with somebody. And if not, find another one on there and share it with them too. Download our podcast. Download our app, the Riverside Waco app, and you can listen to some of our other stuff. Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff on there. All right. And in case you guys didn't know, tonight I have started a new group on Wednesday nights. It's just a hangout for kids and for anybody who wants to listen to me. My husband says I have a monotone voice and that I can put you to sleep. So if you'd like for me to read a bedtime story to you, you can tune in with Stories with Grandma tonight at 7 o'clock, 7 or 7:30, I'm sorry, on Instagram. Just go follow River Kids Waco.
I think it's just
River Kids. Go follow River Kids on Instagram so you can listen in tonight. We love you. Have a good week.
Sorry to make you mad. Love you.
Thank you for listening to the Riverside Weekly. Download the Riverside Waco app to stay connected and follow us on all social media sites at the Riverside Waco. This podcast is made possible by the givers of Riverside Community Church. Production and engineering provided by Capital G and RTV in Waco, Texas.